Operation underway, it's the military police on the streets.
A major operation against drug trafficking.
And a gang known as the Window Smashers.
900 military police officers, a massive operation in the streets of downtown São Paulo.
The military police have support from drones monitoring everything in real time, sniffer dogs, and even armored vehicles to enter areas considered more critical.
The governor of São Paulo, Tarcísio de Freitas, decided to take a bold and historic step by launching a major offensive against organized crime, directly aligning himself with the Shield of the Americas, which is an initiative led by the United States and already includes the participation of more than 17 countries in a continental offensive against the region's cartels. This firm stance by the governor of São Paulo puts the state at the center of an international strategy to combat drug trafficking and strengthens the use of security forces to confront the gangs with tough and coordinated measures. Get off the street.
Get off the street with the help of dogs and vehicles. Yeah. What? Considered critical.
The governor's declared support for the American offensive is not limited to just military and intelligence cooperation. Tarcísio has already publicly stated that he is in favor of defining Brazilian criminal groups as narco-terrorists, which would raise the level of confrontation and open the way for even more aggressive joint actions. This stance, however, has caused concern within the federal government, since the current president of Brazil fears that other states in the federation might follow the same path, increasing the influence of the United States over national security policy and generating internal discussions about Brazil's ability to contain the rise of crime. Welcome to Life in the Barracks.
Governor, regarding this discussion about the PCC and its comparison to terrorist organizations, there is an expectation that this topic will be brought up even at the Trump and Lula meeting. What is your position on this?
It's an opportunity. When the government, like in the United States, labels the PCC a terrorist organization, which they are, it becomes easier. The door to cooperation opens up to integrate intelligence, provide financial resources, and make the fight more effective.
He ran.
Operation Impact Urbius Descent showed the strength of integration between different battalions and cutting-edge technological resources. With more than 900 agents mobilized, the operation was planned to directly target the logistics structure of drug trafficking and to dismantle the so-called glass-breaking gang, which had been terrorizing the population with violent thefts.
Are you crazy? What is he doing there?
The use of drones providing real-time surveillance, sniffer dogs, and armored vehicles gave the operation a sense of precision and impact, showing that the state is willing to confront organized crime on all fronts.
I always mention the national flag's motto, order and progress. And there is no progress if there isn't order first. Order is fundamental for progress.
The Anhangabaú Valley, which is located in downtown São Paulo, has turned into a true command center, bringing together the Shock Battalion, the Traffic Battalion, the Tactical Force, and the BAEP, which is the Special Actions Battalion of the military police, in a coordinated offensive with the civil police. This union of forces not only expanded the reach of the operation, but also demonstrated the military police's ability to act in an integrated way against different types of crime. The message was clear. São Paulo has adopted the Shield of the Americas as its standard and will not tolerate factions like the PCC continuing to dictate the rules on the streets and exploiting the vulnerability of the population. In addition to directly targeting drug trafficking, the operation focused on reducing cell phone thefts, a crime that has become a symbol of urban insecurity and that in many cases results in extreme violence against innocent victims. By undermining this practice, the security forces are seeking not only to regain control of the streets, but also to restore the population's sense of protection and confidence.
The São Paulo police dismantled a criminal call center that carried out scams totaling more than 1 million reais. Guess who the victims were? Elderly people. The gang used computer software to keep the line open and deceive the victims.
To make the scam even more believable, the criminals would even send a motorcycle courier to the victim's house. They promised that the card would be taken for a supposed forensic analysis and that the stolen amounts would be returned.
The impact of the operation reinforces the idea that large-scale, well-planned operations using advanced technology are essential to weaken the power of criminal organizations and restore public order. Tarcísio de Freitas' stance has become increasingly firm and aligned with American interests, especially in the fight against criminal organizations operating on transnational routes. By publicly advocating for Brazilian criminal groups to be classified as narco-terrorists, the governor of São Paulo signals not only his support for the Shield of the Americas, but also a concrete strategy that could profoundly change the way Brazil deals with organized crime. This position, in addition to creating clashes with the current Brazilian president, puts São Paulo in tune with the United States' security policy, expanding international cooperation in domestic affairs. The meeting with Gabriel Escobar, chargé d'affaires of the United States Embassy, was a milestone that generated a strong reaction among the current Brazilian government's allies. The meeting, seen as a gesture of rapprochement and direct cooperation between São Paulo and Washington, raised questions about sovereignty and independence in national security decisions. Allies of the current president even considered summoning Tarcísio to provide explanations, highlighting the political discomfort that this rapprochement with the White House has caused in Brasília. This move by the São Paulo government becomes even more relevant when considering that São Paulo is the largest economy in Brazil and therefore exerts significant influence over the rest of the federation. By advancing in commercial and security agreements with Donald Trump's government, Tarcísio not only strengthens his political position, but also creates a tense scenario with the Brazilian president, who continues to argue that Brazilian criminal organizations are not narco-terrorists.
The Brazilian government is trying to prevent the possibility of the United States classifying Brazilian criminal organizations as terrorist organizations.
This dispute of narratives and strategies puts Brazil in a dilemma. Should it continue to face crime on its own or integrate more deeply into the continental offensive led by the United States? The scenario that is emerging is one of growing tension between the federal government and the Brazilian states, which have already shown alignment with the United States in the fight against criminal organizations. Many believe that the Planalto Palace will try to contain São Paulo's advance in this confrontation. But Tarcísio de Freitas makes it clear that he will stand firm in his strategy, even if it means expanding international cooperation. Lowest homicide rate.
That the state of São Paulo will have the lowest homicide rate in Brazil, 5.6 per 100,000 inhabitants. It's lower than the rate in the United States.
The possibility of the Shield of the Americas carrying out strategic attacks against the PCC and the Red Command no longer seems so far-fetched, especially with the participation of states like São Paulo and Paraná, as well as the mobilization of the civil and military police of Rio de Janeiro in increasingly coordinated operations. This movement shows that the fight against organized crime in Brazil is entering a new phase, marked by large-scale operations and the integration of state forces with international support. However, without the effective participation of the federal security forces and the armed forces, the confrontation may become limited, given the complexity of the criminal networks. With neighboring countries like Paraguay, Ecuador, and Argentina choking off trafficking routes, Brazil needs to react so it doesn't become a refuge for fugitive criminals. The future of national public security will depend on the ability to unite internal and external efforts in a strategic and lethal offensive against organized crime. Leave your opinion here in the comments about Tarcísio de Freitas' decision to support the Shield of the Americas, even if it challenges the current Brazilian president. Here on Life in the Barracks, you stay updated on everything in the military world. Leave a like, subscribe, and watch one of the videos that's appearing on your screen. Onward, fighters! See you next time.